everyone. Welcome back to Sacred Health. I'm Carolyn, and I'm so excited because today I have my first guest interview episode for the show. And so I'd like to formally introduce the guest for the interview. So today's guest is Nicole Burgess. She's an online weight loss coach, YouTuber, wife, and mother of two. Her mission is to help motivate and inspire people on their health journey in whatever way that may be. She shows her ups and downs in order to make others' health journeys easier by sharing her experience and giving advice along the way. I'm so thankful to you, Nicole, for showing up for the episode and helping me out and just sharing your experience with everyone. I had a great time talking with you, and I'm so excited for the listeners to hear the episode. So everybody buckle up. Here's the interview with Nicole. Hey everybody, welcome back to Sacred Health. I'm Carolyn, and I'm so excited because today I get to interview Nicole Burgess. I was just talking with her before I press record about how nervous and starstruck, I guess, I feel because I've been a follower of yours, I think, since maybe 2019-ish. On YouTube, and then I got Instagram later on after that, but yeah, it's been a while. So just to know that you're my first person I get to interview on here, and you were just so sweet to me when I asked you. I really appreciate that. I'm so excited to get to talk to you.
Absolutely. It was an honor because look, girl, I see you on Instagram. You killing it and inspiring and motivate me. That's what I say all the time. People are always like, you inspire me on a daily, and I'm like, y'all don't understand how much it's in return for me. Like to see you guys out there hustling, grinding, getting after it and posting everything. It's just a daily motivator for me. Like I need the motivation too, just like people do themselves. So thank you for being a motivator for me.
You're welcome. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. And that's so funny you say that because I kind of feel a little bit of imposter because I know what you're referencing of weeks, months ago, I would tag you in my workouts all the time. And then it's been rough. So as of now, I have been sucking balls at actually exercising. So I guess I just want to be transparent about that but everybody goes through phases, I guess. And
yeah, it's funny you say that because I feel like right now for everybody, including myself, like the past couple of weeks, I was going through a major rough patch. I don't know what it was, but everybody, I feel like across the board is going through some kind of funk as far as mentality, just getting their mind right to where everything was working out great and all of a sudden everybody's snapped into something, and I don't know what's in the air or what it is, but don't feel bad because it's going on everywhere.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's so funny you say that because yeah, it's not just me. Yeah, I just see it. I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it's in the air. I don't know what's happening, but hopefully everybody gets to feel more like themselves again and slowly back into the routine of whatever that is for them.
Yeah, and it's hard to figure out what's causing the funk for each individual. I think I finally figured mine out, and the last week and this week I feel like I'm back to my old self, thank God. Because like I said, it was a 2 or 3 week stretch where it was what is going on? This is not me. Why am I feeling like this? All the things. So hopefully everybody finds their way back to where they want to be again.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I guess my first question, I know you have mentioned this here and there on YouTube in different videos, but what brought you into the health and fitness world? What was the catalyst for that?
The catalyst for that was I was just not going back to not feeling myself. I wasn't feeling myself. I lost a lot of weight before I even brought it up on YouTube. Like most people, when I first got on YouTube, it wasn't for health. It was for, shopping hauls and just whatever, just to branch into getting on YouTube back in 2016. That's how long I've been on there. And I didn't even tell my health story originally. So everybody that saw me just thought I was automatically, I guess, a healthy person from where I was because I had already lost 85 pounds way back before I even got on YouTube. And it wasn't until probably about 2 years into YouTube, I was like, I need to go ahead and tell my story because it might help somebody else, And I did. And then I started to get in a funk again. And weight was creeping back on. I was getting a little comfortable where I was. And I was like, wait, this is not me feeling like I want to feel. So that's where the whole keto space came into play. And
Mhm.
I dove into the keto realm in 2019. And I just started documenting. It was just, I don't know even why I started it. Just maybe because I thought it might help somebody, but I just picked up the camera and I thought that first vlog that I posted of my journey from keto in 2019, I was like, nobody's gonna watch this. This is gonna totally flop. But I didn't even care because I was like, it's not really so much in that moment. It wasn't about anybody else, but for myself at the time to kind of keep myself accountable. And
Mhm.
that's why I just picked up the camera and started documenting my journey. And it just came a week after week thing because people just loved it. They were like, I really need to see you doing it. It's going to hold me accountable if you're doing it and you showcasing the feels and every single week. And I have posted a weekly video since 2019 to date. There's been some kind of weekly motivational video going on just because I don't want to let anybody down. Like I feel like a lot of times, like when there's been a couple of times where I haven't posted a video just because of vacation or something, and
Mhm.
people go nuts. Like I start getting messages, and they're like, "Where's the video? Are you okay?" Is that? And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's fine," you know. But I just feel like even if it's for one person, I have to post it for that one person, you know. But
Mhm. I can relate to that because I've been the person that has been like so dedicated to watching your videos that whenever you would have a break or like your schedule would change and you would even say that. Like it's not like you were just like disappearing and you were very clear. And even then I'm still just like, where's my Nicole video? Like I need this because well, in the music you pick is very like energetic and it
yes.
helps pump me up, but I love listening to your videos, like when I'm exercising,
Hmm.
because then it feels like somebody else is doing it
With
with
you,
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's funny. I get so many people that get so disappointed when I when I don't post the videos because, like you said, they're like, I have to have your video when I'm on the treadmill or if I'm doing the elliptical, like when I'm doing my cardio, it just helps get me through. And then they get upset when I post just a what I eat in a day video versus a weekly video because they're like, no, the what I eat in a days are too short. I need the long ones. I'm like, y'all killing me.
Just play it on repeat. I've gone back and like went through your playlist or whatever and just like picked random videos just to have like the audio
Yeah,
because I wear these and like just listen, I'm not like watching while I'm exercising, but I just need the noise
the
and it
noise.
just
Yeah.
feels like I have support there, because I'm just by
Well,
myself at home otherwise.
I will tell you, I appreciate you and all the others that do that because, like I said, I feel like even doing this so long, I'm like, does anybody really care? Like, is anybody really listening or watching? And you guys are, and y'all are the true OGs, and I appreciate you guys so much for the support always. It just means everything to me.
Oh my God, I just had a thought and it like completely left my mind. Um, was it weird to adjust to like, well, number one, I guess putting yourself on YouTube, but also then getting people's like responses
Yeah,
at the
and
beginning?
it in the beginning, yeah, because you would get off the wall responses, from all people. And going back to music, like so many people, not anymore, but in the beginning, so I used to get so many comments on people hating the music. Like the music, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I hate that it's too loud," or "Turn the music down," or "I don't like this track." I'm like, Lord, I can't please everybody. But I always pick songs for the vlogs, like you said, that when you hear them, especially when they are tied to the workout clips, like I always want it to be something that like jacks and pumps you guys up. Like it's not even about me at all. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, she's showing off. She likes to show her workout clips. I'm like, it's not about that. It's about playing a track that's going to really jack you guys up. And like you seeing me hustle and go after it is the hopes of wanting you to hustle and go after it. It's
Mhm.
not anything about me at all, contrary to what a lot of people believe.
Yeah.
It's about like when y'all see that, I want you guys to get just so motivated and hyped up that you can't wait to go in the gym. That's what I want from those clips. But
Okay. I didn't
I'm
know if
done.
you were going to say anything else. And something I like, and I know it's, or at least for me, like finding pictures from like years ago, like I don't really have them. Like my parents, like I don't have a way to get stuff like that back, like digitally, but when you are able to find older photos of yourself and show those to us, like, I think that's really inspiring because, I mean, you could say, you know, I was 230 pounds my whole life, but to see like, okay, you really were, and
Yeah.
look how fucking far you've come. Like, I can do that.
Yeah.
And regardless of if mine or whoever's journey is like weight loss, or, you know, it could be food, like ways of eating, like shifting that, or just muscles or anything. But just to see like someone could make such a drastic change and do it in a healthy way and like learn from mistakes and just showing all those things, like that's really encouraging. Because I mean, we know all the bullshit that's on the internet about like, it's just there's a lot of unhealthy or like unhealthy information or misinformation, or maybe unrealistic expectations that,
Right.
you know, celebrities or whoever will put out, whether they're intentionally trying to or not. It's just like they have a whole different set of circumstances. So for like average people to see an average person do that and succeed and just be real about it, like that's helpful, because we need that, I think, like collectively.
Yeah, we're living in a day and age where everybody wants everything yesterday. Everybody wants everything yesterday. They want it now. And everybody that particularly didn't know my story and how I lost the initial weight, it always the first thing they ask, right, is how'd you do it? How did you do that? And I'm like, when I tell them how I did it, then they're like disappointed. They're like, oh, I thought you were gonna tell me like diet pills or
Yeah.
something else to where I can go do that and I can look like that now. And I'm like, no, it took, you know, granted, I did lose that weight pretty quickly, but I was hell bent and determined to lose it and just busted ass. I worked out 7 days a week. I just started eating better portions. I didn't eliminate any foods. When I lost my initial weight, I just started to portion control everything and just make better swaps, healthier swaps when I could, and just really dialed in my nutrition and just worked out like a beast as far as cardio. Now, if I could go back in time, I wish I could go back and strength train. I'd be light years, ahead of where I am now, but you can't go back in time. But I am grateful for the decision that I made to be healthier and to do it. But that's what people don't like to hear. They don't like to hear how you did it. I did it from working out and eating better. Oh man, oh man, that's not what I wanted to hear. Everybody wants to hear the quick
Uh-huh.
fix. You don't learn anything by the quick fix, and that's what I tell everybody. Yeah, I've been down that road too. Before I actually did it the right way, I took every, fad diet, quick fix, diet pill you can think of, unhealthy way. And what happened? I gained all the weight back plus some each and every
Mhm.
time because I didn't learn anything from it. It was easy. It was handed to me. And when something's just handed to you and you don't learn anything from it, you're just going to go right back to your old ways because you didn't get any lesson out of it. So when you are busting ass and working so hard at something, you have the realization, you're like, I don't want to go through all this hell again. Like, I'm not going through all this again to get back to where I was. Like, you actually get something out of it and you learn from
Mhm.
it. So I think it's so beneficial for people to do it the right way, just so it becomes a lifestyle and it stays off and you don't have to keep yo-yoing back and forth to, being overweight to being healthy. It's just unhealthy in itself doing that.
Mhm. That's great. That's so true, man. Like that, going through difficult things, you learn from that. I mean, I think of it, I did an episode about like dealing with uncomfortable emotions and like intentionally letting yourself feel shit that sucks, because then you actually process it and release it. Like, so I mean, me specifically, or just people I know, it's pretty common that um like you don't want to deal with feeling sad or like facing an issue that's upsetting to you or whatever, so you just try to squash it down, and eventually it comes up in your face in a way that's worse because
Right.
you're not dealing with it. So I think, to relate that to what you said, like if you don't learn healthy lifestyle choices, it's just going to keep coming back.
Mhm. Yeah.
And like you said, more weight on top of what it was originally,
Definitely.
because
And
there's no, yeah.
I'm glad you brought up the mental aspect of it, because that's what I say to everybody, and especially the people that are in my current program. It's funny because every time I do one of these shred programs with these people, the main concern that they have, and they're so worried and they're so hung up on the workouts. That's the workouts and doing a particular exercise and form. And I'm like, y'all, that should be the least of your worries, is exercising. And they're like, wait, what? And they're like, coming from me, they think that's weird when I say that. And I'm like, that is the least of your worries, is working out, exercising, your workout plan. And they're like, wait a minute, why are you telling me that? And I'm like, because the mental aspect of this and your nutrition is what's going to be the most struggle for you. And it's not until they actually get into it that they understand what I mean by that. They're like, oh, I understand that the mental demons that I'm fighting on a daily, that's hard in itself. The meal prepping, the tracking, weighing my food, the preparing my meals, or if I'm at a party or at an event, how do I handle those people peer pressuring me? Like today in the group chat, that's what people are talking about right now, is peer pressure at the workplace. It's all those things that are going to be the constant fight. It's so easy to walk into a gym and do something, whether you did it perfect. I mean, nobody's perfect. I'm never perfect. I preach that all the time, but anybody can walk in a gym and get on a treadmill and burn some calories, but all the other stuff, that takes a lot to be able to accomplish, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. For me, yeah, like the mental motivation, or just battling like dysmorphia or laziness, like, or just all those things, it's very difficult. And especially when like life or outside circumstances start getting fucking like crazy stressful, then it's like that's when your health needs to be top priority, but usually it's the opposite. And
right.
And then you regret that like later on. But in the moment, sometimes it's hard to prioritize yourself when other things are like so crazy. Like what helped you in the beginning? Because you said you were like a beast working out 7 days a week. I know you were teaching, right, at that time. So how the fuck did you do that? Like mentally? Because it's one thing to be like, okay, I know my schedule and I'm going to go here after work and stuff. But like mentally, how did you not lose your mind?
Well, I think it helped that I didn't have kids, and I've mentioned that on the videos, because I'm like, yeah, if kids would have been in the factor, it definitely would have been more of a challenge. So I didn't have to worry about kiddos, and feeding and picking up and all those things. So that obviously helped at the time, for me to be able to accomplish what I did. But I was a brand new teacher. It was my first year of teaching, which the first few years, if you're a teacher, is the most rough. So I was leaving work sometimes at like 6 o'clock, because I was staying up there grading papers or lesson planning or just trying to get my stuff ready for the next day. And I was going straight to the gym to do a Zumba class, or, just to get on the treadmill or do whatever, and then go home and cook and stuff. I think I was just to answer your question, I think I was just so tired of my own bullshit. I was just so tired. I've been doing it for so long, and just the same shit day after day, and just feeling depressed and just feeling horrible in my own skin. And I was just like, something's got to change. And I know what needed to change. I needed to change, So unless I got off my ass and did it, it wasn't going to happen, So I think that was my main drive and motivation for doing it. Was it easy? Absolutely not. None of it's easy. And that's what I stressed about in the beginning. As a beginner, even if you have been doing it a long time, right now, I mean, I've been doing this so long. Like I said, I just had like a 3-week stretch where it was like rough as all hell, So none of it's easy at all, but you just know that you pick your heart, you pick your heart. Is this going to be hard doing all this? Yeah. But you know what was harder and was more stressful and more taxing on my body was me being unhealthy and overweight, for sure. So I would much rather challenge this type of hard than all of those other hards any day, for sure.
That's so true. And I've seen those, I've seen you share it, and I've shared it a few times, like that choose your hard like thing on Instagram. Just basically, like, is it harder to focus on your health and wellness now, or the hard, I can't say this in a way that makes sense. The alternative to that is like, okay, you're going to be depressed, overweight, no mobility, sick, stuff like that. And it's just like you got to choose. It could apply to anything outside of fitness too, but just like
This thing of the
sacrificing.
mentality that life is easy. I don't know where that even came from. Like from anybody, like honestly, like I don't know. And so many people, that's what they expect. Like, oh, when does it get easy? I want this to be easy. I don't understand. Like life is hard, period, you know? But there's different, like we were just saying, there's different types of hard. You have to choose your hard. And even though it's hard, it's a rewarding hard. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's rewarding for me. When I go into the gym and I'm lifting heavy weights, I truly enjoy it, but it is hard. It is hard for me to keep tracking, to keep weighing my food, meal planning, all the things. Yeah, that's hard, but I love that hard versus the old hard of me being,
Mm-hmm.
230 pounds and all the feels that came with it. I don't feel like there's ever an easy part of life, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Parts of your life get easier, but I don't feel like life in general is ever easy. I want to see those people that just have everything easy.
Mm-hmm.
Mentality, physical, everything in their life is just easy. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't, that's not like, that's like we said earlier, just unrealistic expectations. I mean, and things are difficult, so you learn from it. Like you have, I mean, I believe we come into this life, whatever way you believe that is, but like we are meant to learn lessons. And if we don't learn them, things are going to happen again, maybe like in a different circumstance, but just like until you figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, this,
And like, I love how you said until you figure it out because, it takes yourself to do the things, to learn the things, to get anything out of it, and I feel like a lot of people too want everything handed to them or, when things don't work out, they want to point the blame at somebody else or something else. And
Mhm,
they never want to point the finger at themselves when ultimately everything in life, it all boils down to you, like how you're going to go after it, how you're going to handle it. You are the one that makes the choices and that determines how things are going to work out, like period.
mhm,
But
definitely.
mhm.
And like blaming others, like that hit me because I mean, it wasn't necessarily like all related to my health, but even just mentally, like my relationships and things. It took me many years to even realize like I played a part in like arguing or like stressful relationships. Like how dumb is that? Like I was so up my ass that like I didn't think, oh, Carolyn, you contribute to this dynamic in any way. Like, and it's like embarrassing, but I also want to be upfront about that because that's a big shift mentally for someone to go from like, oh, it's your fault, your fault, your fault to like, oh, there's things I can do that
Mm,
will shift this.
yeah. And it's not embarrassing. I feel like
Mhm.
we all are guilty of it. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
guilty of it for sure. That's why I got to where I was and why I was there for so long until I
Mhm.
finally had the realization like, girl, you need to do something, But I feel like that's everybody's downfall is just not wanting to point the finger at themselves and just pointing blame at others because you don't
Mhm.
want to take the accountability for it ever being your fault.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a hard thing to face sometimes.
Yeah.
What was that like, I guess, amongst your immediate support system or just like people around you? Because in my experience, sometimes like eating healthier, the people around us sometimes get triggered or upset about it and then like shit on you basically for trying to be healthier. Like, was that your experience when you started trying to work on yourself, or was it encouraged?
It was encouraged by my family for sure. Like I will say, like, my husband's always been my number one supporter in everything. So like he's always like, whatever you want to do, I'm gonna support you, which has always been great on his part. So I never got anything, as far as from him, and I was like, well, things are gonna be different for you too, just because
Mm-hmm.
just because I'm doing this, like dinners are gonna change. He's like, I'm here for it, whatever. But as far as my outside family, always positive for me. But it's funny that you brought that up because, like I said, in the group chat for the group, they're all stressing out from peer pressure from friends and from coworkers. And from coworkers, when I was teaching, that's where I would get the most shit is from people that you work with. Like, I guess, like
Mm-hmm.
friend, not necessarily family, but friends and people that you worked with. I don't know, like they were saying in the group today, they're like, it's jealousy, you know, people, misery loves company, like all that kind of stuff. But I had this one lady in particularly when I was doing keto, every time I walked into the break room, first off, she would give me like this look. And I thought me and her were like, okay. It's not like she didn't like me, that type of thing. But as far as like food time, she like despised me when it came to lunchtime, I guess. But when I would walk into the lunchroom, she would give me this look like, oh, we have to look at what she's eating now, you know? And I'd pull it out and she'd have some comment, snarky comment to say about anything I was eating, and then had to justify what she ate and like the regular Coke she was drinking. Oh, I have to drink my regular Coke, blah, blah. I'm like, girl, do you? Like, I don't care. Like, I didn't say anything about your food. You're the one that's
Mm-hmm.
bringing up your food now and justifying your act. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's almost she felt bad about it, but wanted to deflect on me, like, what are you doing? And then, like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. But I think it is a place of jealousy when people see you doing better and seeing you winning. They don't like that because they haven't gotten to that spot in their life where they're doing that for themselves. So until they can get to that spot where they can do it for themselves, they just want you to be miserable like they are in the moment, which
Mm-hmm.
is unfortunate and sad. But that's most people. I will tell you that is especially women. That is most women on this planet is they do not want to see another woman doing better than them. They do not like it at all, which is I personally have never gotten and never will get that mindset because
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a woman that wants to see other women win all the time. Like small win, it just motivates and inspires me to see you guys as women killing it at life. It's no better feeling for me as a person to see that. So I will never understand somebody that doesn't have that same mentality. But I will tell you that I'm sure you understand this, you know, doing social media and stuff yourself, but I have so many that follow me just in the hopes of seeing me fail, which is so sad. It's so sad. But
That's a
you
waste of energy. Like
know,
I don't get it.
it's such a waste, you know. They it's just they come back and you know they're subscribed, you know, they'll leave snarky messages and then eventually they'll leave because I'm like I've been at this at years. Are y'all not getting the hint now?
Mm-hmm.
That we're not failing around here. Like it's not going to happen. So you can just go at any time. I mean, you're wasting years of your time at this point. But
Yeah.
you said all that time and energy that they're putting into negativity could be harnessed into so much good for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a waste of time. It's sad. I don't
It's
understand.
yeah, I don't either. It's like high school. I mean, and like I was lucky enough to not really experience like directed at me like bullying and like bitchy high school drama, but like I saw it obviously, but like thankfully I didn't receive it like specifically. But it's like why we are grown ass people. Like why I mean, not that it's okay in high school, but your brains aren't developed all the way. Like you can kind
Yeah.
of like I guess there's a reason why maybe that is more common. But like, okay, we've done matured. Well, maybe not, I guess, because it
Yeah.
happens now. But
I
like
know.
scientifically, your brain has developed, like, so you would think it would be easier to understand that that is just unnecessary. But I guess a lot of people are still stuck in that
A lot of people
space, you know?
are stuck in general, you know, and going back to what we were saying, they've got to point the finger at somebody, you know, and they've got to deflect their misery on somebody, you
Mhm.
know, unfortunately, you know, and that's now in the beginning of my journey of my, I don't say my journey, my YouTube journey, in 2016, you know, when I would get any hateful comments or anything like that, obviously you're new to it being on social media and it hurts. You know, we are people at the end of the day. We're not just some fake like prompter that's coming up on a screen, you
Mhm.
know, we are people, we have feelings and emotions just like anybody else, you know, so it definitely hurt in the beginning, but I've come to just come numb to it doing it so long. But I honestly feel bad for those people, you know, that leave particular comments. And I know it's not anything to do with me, where I can't say that I realized that in the beginning, but now I know, hey, it has nothing to do with me. It's this person and what they're going through. And they're just trying to find an outlet to make themselves feel
Mhm.
better. And I just happen to be that punching bag today, you know? But so I just kind of take it with stride. I don't even really comment back to a lot of people anymore. I'll try. And, you know, because sometimes it's hard to get a feel for a comment or a text message, as far as like a tone.
Yeah.
And I've definitely taken some comments out of context sometimes because you're not sure like the tone, and then like they go to explain, I'm like, okay, they weren't coming from a hateful space, and then we have a little conversation.
Hmm.
But some people, there's just no talking back. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, let me just go ahead and block because they're having a bad day.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It's just so many people out there that just have so many mental issues, mental health issues, and that just plays such a part in all things in life, whether you're on a weight loss journey or not. So that's why I tell everybody, hey, you got to get your mind right before anything else can get into place for sure.
Yeah, that's so true. Because if you don't have a healthy way to process what you're dealing with, I mean, it's going to come out, like you said, in hateful comments or just aggression towards people, maybe in person, where you're like the people cutting people off while driving or like
Yeah.
scream, like it could, or worse sometimes, it could
Yeah.
come out in worse ways than that. But getting your mind right is so important. And to go back to, I guess just your whole confidence aspect, that's something I've noticed is like you don't give a shit about what people have to say. And I know that that takes
Time.
time to get there. So like what has helped you get to that point? Um
Maybe thanks to the haters. I don't know. Maybe they helped me get to where I am today. I don't know, because I definitely, if you ask anybody that's known me my whole life, I know what I went to my reunion last year, and so many people were blown away when they knew, some people knew, and some people just came to find out when we were at the reunion that I was a YouTuber and I had done stop teaching to do YouTube, and they're like, oh my God, I never would have dreamed you. Number one, because I was overweight when they knew me. Number
mhm,
two, I was never an outgoing person like when I was younger. And I think I always wanted to be, and I've always had this personality, but I always felt like the weight overshone it. Like I always felt like I wasn't able to be my true self because I couldn't be my true self because I wasn't happy with myself, if that makes sense. So I've been very insecure, a main part of my life. I wasn't who I wanted to be the majority of my life. I feel like now, like coming into my 40s, I'm just now coming into like who I've always wanted to be, which I know sounds crazy. And it's like, dang, you waited a long time, but it's
mhm,
like, I had to go through all the motions and like go through everything to like find myself again and to feel confident.
mhm.
And going into that, like I have just started to feel confident. You were talking about body dysmorphia in my own skin as of late. Like I've always been someone that would go into the gym and I would like have covered up, as far as working out. And I've
Mhm.
just started to been working out with just my sports bra on and my bottoms, where like that's a big step for me to like take, because again, I still see myself sometimes as a bigger person than I am. The body dysmorphia, I feel like someone that's been overweight or someone that struggled with body image, you're going to have that your whole life. Like that's never going to go
Mhm.
away. You're going to have to battle that. But just going through tough shit, to answer your question, just going through tough shit just makes you harder as a person, I guess, and just makes you more confident with yourself and just not care about the stupid stuff. Like life
Mhm.
is too short to like dwell and worry about the non-meaningful things. And I'm just living life. I'm just living life for me. That's what I'm doing.
That's great. That makes me happy to hear. Because I see myself going through a similar path, and I wouldn't say I'm quite yet in that, like I know who I am, like very clearly yet. But it's like you said, it's like waiting, that realization of that you have waited so many years to finally like know yourself, and that's kind of a trip to think about. But
It is.
um, it's
It is because, like I
it's
said,
so
I've
neat.
always wanted to be the person I am today, but I just didn't think I could because of my weight, number one. But also, and I talk about this a lot in the videos, is the outside world telling us who we should be. Like I feel like you were talking about earlier about celebrities and diets and stuff, and the outside world, media, everything, even from me growing, it's so crazy now. I can't imagine being a young girl living in today's world. Like, honestly, like I wouldn't want to imagine it, honestly, being 12, 13 years old living in today's world, it's got to be the scariest thing ever. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can remember when I was then and just looking up to, different celebrities and the trends and all the things, and constantly told that if you weren't thin, you were nothing, all these type of things that were brainwashed into our head. And you couldn't like this because then you'd be in this category, it's so crazy. So I just hope that young girls don't let society put them in a bubble that they don't want to be in. Like, I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
did that to myself. Like, I let society tell me I needed to be a particular way because that was more acceptable than being who I really wanted to be. And now I'm like, I'm 40. I don't care what society thinks. Like, I'm going to do and what I want, and I've gotten comments from people like, oh my gosh, you are, getting older and you're doing certain things that are more of a younger thing. And I'm like, who cares? I'm like, who
Mm-hmm.
cares? Like, if I like something, I'll be 90 and liking it,
Yeah.
like, I don't care,
That doesn't change, right?
it doesn't change. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like society wants to change you, as you get to a certain age, like you should be this. If you're a mom, you should be this way. And I think that's a load of baloney,
Oh
like,
yeah.
and I didn't before. I feel like I listened. I was like, okay, I have to do this because I'm a teacher. I have to do this because I'm a mom now, and now I'm like, whatever, like, I'm going to do what I want to do because this is what truly makes me happy. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
happy when I was doing those things
Yeah.
that society told me I needed to do. Like, I don't know. I just hope that young girls don't grow up with that mentality, because I will tell you that with the women in the shred program especially, that's the main thing I have to work on them with, is trying to break the mold, as far as
Mm-hmm.
stereotypes and all the things. It's really bad for a lot of women. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that hit me because I have a daughter, she's 8, and like me, and I had kids in my very early 20s. So like basically I moved out of my parents' house like when I was pregnant. Like I'd never really been an adult before. Like it was a very quick grow up fast type of thing. And I just like shut down. And even back then, like I didn't know myself very well yet. I was still very young, but just that I remember like getting rid of all my clothes that I used to love, like right when I found out I was pregnant, not even comprehending the fact that I could fit them later on after that.
Yeah,
Um, and I used to wear like bright, that whole like emo kind of like scene era was like my high school years. So that, just the bright colors and like patterns and things. And I just got rid of all of it, like just because motherhood means this. And like I didn't even know what that meant, but I just knew it wasn't
that.
what I
Yeah.
used to be.
Yeah.
And that is so fucking, and it's so dumb. And like I could have worn, like even now I look back and I'm like, man, I had some of my favorite stuff that I just threw
Got rid
away
of
for
it.
no reason. And
I know.
it's like so now that I'm like going through this journey of growth as my kids are, in school and getting old enough to like understand things a little bit more, like deeper things, that I can just explain that to them, like don't don't ever let anybody tell you can't do something. Like you said, like don't put yourself in a bubble because it is a waste of your life, and it sucks. I'm not trying to get all sad, but it's like it really
Yeah.
sucks to like look back and be like, I spent many years in a way that was inauthentic.
Yeah. Same for sure. Like,
Oh girl, I'm getting emotional.
many years, like in high school, like even in high school, like the people that I was friends with and that I vibed with and got along with most, I hung out with them and stuff on the weekends and occasionally at school, but I wanted to be in that in crowd so bad, that I dressed like the in crowd. I did all that and, had some friends in the in crowd, but my true people were not the in crowd,
Hmm.
but I felt like that's who I was supposed to be like at the time. And why? Like, if I could go back, like with all things in life,
Hmm.
right? We always say, if I could go back, like I would start being who I am today back then.
Oh
And
yeah.
wow, how my life might be different, but it's just crazy. And like you said, when you get into being a mom, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, I can't do any of, I have to be this way because this is what moms do, And I'm like, wait a minute, like, why? Like, I don't understand, And I feel like a lot of ladies too, when they get to a particular age, they feel like they can't do certain things because they're age. And why? Like, age is just a number. It shouldn't hold you back
Hmm.
from the things that you enjoy. It shouldn't hold you back from your goals, your aspirations, or the things that you love, And I don't know why society does the things as far as age and like how women, I feel like it's more on women too. Like, I really don't feel like men, for any men watchers, I'm sorry, but I don't feel like men get the same crap as we do as far as like how we should dress, like we can't have our hair a certain way. Like, I just gave up on the hair dye, and let my hair
Hmm.
go natural, and I got so much shit for that, because they're like, oh my gosh, you're too young to let your hair go. I'm like, I don't care. Like, this is what I want to do. I don't care, And now it's funny because I get so many compliments on my hair now. Like, oh
Hmm.
my God, it looks so, I love the color, and my hairdresser, she's actually younger than me and she's trying to let hers grow out. She's like, oh my God, I can't wait till mine gets to the spot that yours
Hmm.
is in. I'm like, girl, just let it grow. Quit dyeing
Hmm.
it. But you just get tired. You just get tired of the nonsense, I guess, when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to society and all the things. And I guess you
Hmm.
just finally, going back to your original question, you just finally let go. You just
Yeah.
finally let go and you're like, I'm going to do what makes me happy, period, in all
Hmm.
aspects of life. And I will tell you, there's no better feeling than when you let go and start enjoying who you truly are. Like, there's really no better feeling. I am so grateful that I finally did break out of that, you know,
Hmm.
whatever it's called, and get to where I am now. I'm so thankful for that. And it took a long time. So anybody that's listening, don't give up. Like,
Yeah.
it might take a long time, but you'll finally get there, and you'll know when. You'll know when you get there too.
Hmm.
Not everybody's ready to get there, but
Yeah. That's
once
good.
you get there, you'll feel like the person you've always wanted to feel like.
And that's so worth it. I mean, we as far as we know, like we live once and that's it. So like why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to live that life in the most authentic way possible? Like
Possible.
if you have the ability to control that yourself, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Like,
I know. It's just
mhm.
people worry about what other people think
Oh
so much
yeah.
when it comes to all things, and that's one big thing that a lot of people have to work on is the opinions of others, and influencing them on what they do, for themselves and all the things in life. And once you stop worrying about what other people think, it is so freeing. It is so freeing. And it's taken me 40 years to get there.
Hmm.
Everybody's like, dang, that's not promising
Hmm.
for me. But look, I could be here 80 talking to you and saying
Hmm.
it took me 80 years, but I mean, I've gotten to this spot and I have a long life still left to live. So I'm
Yeah.
happy to be able to live the rest of my years being happy. So
Oh
it's great.
yeah, that's so sweet. It's true. And like you have your kids to show like they've seen your growth and changes, just I'm sure mentally. I mean, yes, you've physically changed as well, but just that whole mental growth of like embracing yourself and not being afraid to be a kid and like just enjoy the things you always have and share that with your kids. I think that's huge because I know for like when I talk to my kids, I want them to know they can act like a kid their whole life.
Yeah.
And like I was trying to explain to me and my husband were trying to explain to our kids like people who um write movies and like stories, they're using their imaginations, like they're adults like tapping into that part of themselves to do that, and that's what they get to do for their job, like you don't have to shut that off.
No, I saw somebody made a TikTok or something, and it's kind of what you were talking about. Like, how is it that we are kids for so long, and we are like expected to be kids, and to have like kid like likes and behaviors and stuff, and then we're supposed to shut it off.
It's
Like, we're
not
supposed
normal.
Like we're supposed to at 18, oh no, that goes away.
Mhm.
Like everything that you did up until 18 years old, you can't do anymore. Like, and they were like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Like you told me I was supposed to do all these things and have all
Uh-huh.
these lives and go after this and this, and then all of a sudden I'm supposed to like be a different person. Like, how does that work? And that just resonated with me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is so true that
Mhm.
we are kind of raised that way. And then all of a sudden, as an adult, you have to be a totally different person. And
Mhm.
it's not true. Like you can be the same person that you are, you can still have the same likes. Yes, you have greater
Yeah.
responsibilities, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that you can't still be interested in certain things and do all the things that you did
Mhm.
before. You just have a little bit of extra stuff tacked onto you.
Yeah.
That's all. you
Yeah.
know?
You're right. You're still a person. Like,
Yeah.
that's what they're, like, relating it back to motherhood. It used to be like, "Oh, we're moms," and, like, that's it, but it's like, you're still a human, like, you're still yourself, like, why does that go away? And even for dads
Yeah.
too.
I feel like that's one of the main things as far as weight loss is concerned that a lot of ladies have a hard time with is making themselves a
Oh,
priority and
sure.
feeling the mom guilt and the mom shame because they're taking time out for themselves where they think that all their time should be devoted to their kids. Which, I say a million times, if you don't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of your circle. Like you have to take care of you first because you're not going to be the best version of yourself and then you're just going to portray that onto your circle. I know that
Mhm.
when I'm in a bad mood or I not saying that it's right or that I should, but that definitely gets deflected on others
Oh,
around you.
yeah.
So if you were in a good headspace, if you've taken care of yourself, if you're feeling good, that is going to resonate with people around you and that's what you want. So it's not being selfish. And you shouldn't have the mom guilt and the mom shame from doing that because it's doing nothing but benefiting everybody around you.
Mhm.
But people have such a hard time wrapping their brain around that. They feel so guilty for taking any time for themselves.
Yeah, I know I've experienced that. Even now, I still sometimes, like, even just doing, like, this podcast and me, like, intentionally carving out time to work on a passion project, that's very new to me, but it's been rewarding to, like, be like, "Okay, it's fine, like,
Yeah.
everything will be fine, like, I can do this and
Yeah.
it's okay," and then I feel better because I'm doing something fulfilling, and it just kind of, like, repeats itself. To kind of play into that, like, do you have anything specifically that you do to, like, help you keep you in a good headspace or with your mindset in general?
I
Like
will tell you that working out does that for me. Like that is my time to let any frustrations out. Like I feel like it's such a therapy session for me. Like I always say, like going to the gym is therapy. And you see a lot of people like that have like TikToks and stuff that, people might be judging you for always going, oh man, she always goes to the gym. And then they're on their end, they're like, I go to the gym because it's my therapy. Like I need this. When
mhm,
I go in there, I can listen to my music. I can like shut off everything around me and kind of I have a lot of like deep thoughts while I'm in there, just random things that you wouldn't necessarily think about because you're constantly working or mom lifing or doing
mhm,
something. But it's definitely an hour and a half window where I can just think to myself, just shut everything off, let any aggression out if I have any. But it definitely keeps me zen. I feel like working out, it definitely just clears my head every single morning when I go in there. So it's more I say that all the time. It's more mental for
mhm,
me than going
yeah.
in there. It's so therapeutic. That's why I think I love it so much.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's almost like, like meditating or just some sort of, like, grounding activity, and I feel the same way, like, I need to do my meditation and workout ideally, because granted, it clearly hasn't happened consistently, but I notice it if I don't do it consistently that I'm, like, moody or just stressed, like, my body is holding tension and things like that, like, you just don't feel the same when you're not consistent with it,
Yeah.
whatever that is for you, that grounding, kind of
Yeah.
like, I need to start my day on this foot for everything else to go smooth.
Yeah. And it can look different for everybody, as far as what keeps them grounded and zen. Like it
Mhm,
doesn't have to be exercise, like you said, meditating, journaling, like all those things help a lot of people individually. Some people hate strength training, they're like, I can't get into it. That's fine, but they love running, that then you let all your therapy out in your running sessions, or a lot of people like to like get on their Peloton, things like that. Whatever works for you and that you enjoy. And I tell people all this all the time, whatever you're doing exercise wise, you should be enjoying, like you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be dreading doing whatever you're doing. So if you're dreading doing whatever you're doing, then you need to fix it and you need to
Yeah.
find out what is working for you that you enjoy, because you're not going to be consistent with showing up if you don't enjoy it. Like I know, like if I hated going to the gym and strength training, I wouldn't be going every day. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to find what works for you and that you're going to keep showing up doing because you love doing it.
Yeah, that's true. So true. And just that feeling of like resistance and like it doesn't feel authentic to you if you hate it. So then you're just like, maybe then that turns into you being shameful of yourself because you know it's healthy or it's the right thing to do, but you hate it and it doesn't bring you any happiness. And I could see that turning into a lot of like just like a resistance, and then it's just like an internal struggle. Definitely
Yeah.
finding something fulfilling gives you longer lasting results, I would
Yeah.
say.
And give it time, like I tell people too, like, don't just go to the gym for a week and be like, I hate strength training. Or like trying, if you wanted to run, like you only run for a week and I hate running. You have to do it for a long time to figure out if it's something that's a fit for you or not. And
Hmm.
some things, when you do it long enough and you keep showing up and doing at it, you learn that you actually do love it, or you learn to
Hmm.
love it, over time.
Yeah.
Whereas you had a stigma saying like, I could never do that, like, or I would never like doing that. And then you start doing it and you actually do enjoy it and like it. So give it time at something before you
Mhm.
just write it off completely. I tell people that all the time because people
Yeah.
are like, strength training, what? And then I have I have many people that have never strength trained before and now they're doing it and they're kicking ass and loving it. So
Hmm.
you got to try it. You
Yeah.
don't know if you can do something or if you like it until you try. So
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of consistency, like I know you have it behind you, like show up, do the damn thing, consistency, like that has been a motto for you for so many years. I think I'm sure you probably maybe heard this in your coaching programs of people struggling with being consistent. What would you say? Like, do you have any words of wisdom as far as like getting over that hump of like the struggle of being consistent with the health journey?
it's just, if you're not consistent, you're never going to know where you could be, and consistency isn't going to have results show up overnight either. That's why I tell everybody, be patient, trust in the process. This is a journey. It's going to take time. But as far as weight loss is concerned, you can't put all your eggs into the basket of the scale.
Mhm.
That's what I'm doing with the people in the shred program right now, because week one, everybody loses a ton of weight week one. And then week two, you have some people that still losing. And look, when I say a ton of weight, they're losing a ton of weight week one. A lot of it's water weight,
Mhm.
inflammation. And then week two, some of them coming from like an 8-pound loss week one. And then week two, they're losing like 1.5, 2 pounds. And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't lose anything. I'm like, first off, half a pound a week
Yeah.
is more than average
Uh-huh.
for a weight loss journey, and I even on the Zoom this past weekend, I showed him a video with a guy holding up an actual pound, like what a pound of fat looks like. Because I got from everybody, I only lost this, I only lost that. I'm like, do y'all understand what you're even saying right now?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
a loss is a loss. But instead of them just focusing on the scale, I'm having them take the pictures, take the measurements. I have a lot of them that have been trying on old clothes and, they're like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, the scale didn't even go down last week, but I went down 2 pant sizes. Like, how is this even possible? Because you can lose fat and replace it with muscle,
Oh yeah.
especially most of these ladies are new to strength training. So they're beginners, and the newbie gains is like out of
Oh
this
yeah.
world. That's why I said if I could go back in time, like I would be a newbie gainer for sure. Because they have a leg up on me, as far as what's
Mhm.
happening with their body, and the body recomposition is just out of this world. But if they just focused on the scale, they wouldn't ever see it. Hence, they wouldn't be showing up and being consistent, So just having those non-scale victories is a motivator for them to still be consistent each and every day. And you got to just keep your eye on the prize, keep your eye on your overall your why. Like, why are you doing this in general? Like, it doesn't even have to come to the scale. Like, why are you wanting to be healthy? It might not even be about losing weight. You just want to be an overall healthy person. So why are you wanting to do that? So you have to kind of like harness and tap into that each and every day to be consistent, you know, and just have those daily reminders of why you're doing it. And I feel like with the consistency, I know from doing it so long, I need to do it for my overall health. Like, it's something that is non-negotiable. I have to do it. And I am a very motivated, disciplined person over time now. I wasn't before, but I have ingrained that in myself now. But I do feel like you guys, followers and watchers, hold me accountable too. Like, I don't know if I would be where I am now if I wasn't on social media, to be honest. You know, would I still be showing up each and every day if everybody wasn't watching? I don't know, you know. So you guys are a big part of my journey, and that's why I feel like I still share it for that reason, because I need you guys as much as some of you guys say that you need me. So
Yeah, it's like, what's that word? Symbiotic relationship, like that.
yeah.
Just people relying on each other and playing off of each other. Like, that's so true. And
Yeah.
it's just like a cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. One last question, because I want to be respectful of your time. Okay, so personally, like, tracking food is annoying. Like, I've done it. For many years I was like, I'm never doing that. With like, I had some disordered eating like growing up, and just I was like, that's automatically gonna like take me there, and I don't want that. And then
Yeah.
I kind of got over that and did it, and it was great, but it was still like difficult. Like, it worked, but like I wasn't like excited to do it.
Yeah.
So then it was easy to like fall off, if that makes sense. So you're clearly like the macro tracking queen, and you've shown so, I mean, like weeks in advance, or just like even planning around trips and things. And I know you don't like, sometimes you don't do it, or it's certain meals that you intentionally don't track because of, you're going out with family or whatever, but just your foundations are spot on. So like, what can you say to people like me who get just overwhelmed or whatever by it?
I don't think
You
that
know?
tracking is necessarily fun for anybody. So don't feel bad. I don't think everybody's, I mean, look, I am the abnormality. I do kind of find it fun in a way sometimes. Like, I do feel like it's kind of like a game when I track in ahead. Like, okay, I have to like hit all the marks. Let me play my macro and like get it done. I like doing it weeks in advance just because I am a person that likes, I'm a planner. I think that's where it helps me as far as tracking. I'm a huge planner. I like to know what's going on before it happens, or at least try to have an idea. So I think that helps. And I do like doing it ahead of time because it helps me with planning meals and grocery shopping. And it really helps with that too. But I don't feel like it ever gets to where you're like, oh my gosh, I love tracking. You know? Because look, there are some times where I wake up and I'm like, God, I really don't feel like getting this food scale out. I just want to put crap on a plate and go on my merry way, you know? But for me personally, and I know it's different for everybody on their journey, but the reason why I still track, and a lot of people still ask me, because they're like, God, you've been doing it for so long. Why are you still doing it? Even though I've been doing it for so long, there are many times where I still waste it stuff up and I'm like, holy shit, like I don't. And it's the opposite. Like, a lot of people weigh things up and they're like, wow, I've been eating way more than I should, you know? For me, I know I would not be eating enough if I didn't weigh. Like, I just feel like when I look at certain portions, like when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's enough. And I go to weigh it out, what I have plugged in, and it's like triple what I would have put on the plate. You know? And I'm like, God, it's a lot of food, you know? And honestly, I probably should be eating more than I am eating right now. And I probably will here upcoming in the next few months. But it's a lot of food when you go to track it out. And I feel like, I guess maybe for when I lost my initial weight and just like going from like eating whatever and just stuffing my face with whatever. And that's what got me into a bad place, to being more portion controlled and having smaller portions. I think it's me going back to that, like looking at things on a plate and thinking they should be small, and now I need bigger portions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all a mentality thing for me,
Yeah.
but that's why I keep weighing my stuff, because I know I need more than I would ever put on these plates. It's crazy the amount of food that I'm eating that I would never eat if I didn't
Mm-hmm.
track. But as far as continuing to do it, you know, I see the progress that I'm making with doing it. So that's what motivates me to keep tracking, because if I didn't track, I don't think I would have the results that I've been seeing the past year and a half for
Mm-hmm.
sure. So that's what I always stress to people, like, hey, you want to body recomp. Like I have certain ladies that, you know, don't want to be stick thin. They want to have shape. They want to build muscle. They want to gain weight. And I'm like, you've got to eat the food. And if it takes the tracker and you weighing things out to do that, to get where you need to be, and you start seeing results, it's going to make you want to do it even more. Same thing with weight loss. Like people don't realize how much they're mindlessly snacking, eating, and grazing, and those calories just pack on. Like it doesn't seem like you're eating a lot because you're just like snacking throughout the
Mm-hmm.
day, but a handful of whatever might be like 500 calories. You don't even realize it, you
Yeah.
know? So that's why I stress to people, as far as weight loss journey, you've got to weigh and track your food, because and a lot of people in the program are guilty of this as well. Like they might have had some days where they were like, man, I don't feel like tracking, so I'm not going to track today. And they just ate whatever. And then the week comes to check in and they're like, that's why the scale looks like that, because, you know, I went a little
Mm-hmm.
ham 2 days because I didn't track. And they're like, if I wouldn't have did that, I probably would have had good results. Yes, you weren't consistent as you needed to be. And that goes across the board with not just working out, but weighing, tracking your food, being diligent with your nutrition. It all plays a factor. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
motivation when you start seeing results from
Yeah.
tracking. I think it motivates you to keep doing it, even though it is a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm. And what do you use to track? What app?
I use the First Form app. You can use
Okay.
any app that you want. I just like the First Form app because you get so much with it for the price. You know, there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of free ones that you can use out there and that are fine. But if you're going to pay for one, I always suggest that one, because you get an actual like person you can talk to and look at
Mm-hmm.
your macros and your food and workouts. There's all kinds of stuff on
Yeah.
there. It's crazy for the price that you pay, versus like some of the other ones you pay the same price and you basically just get your tracker. So
Yeah, like just the nutrition side.
yeah,
Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking with me. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
I do want to give you a chance to say your, your socials, your website, or whatever you want to share, for the listeners.
Awesome. So you can find me on YouTube. It's just my name, Nicole Burgess. So if you type that in, I should pop up. And then my Instagram is Next Level Nicole. My new Instagram, I got hacked on my old one, but that should be the only one that pops
Mhm.
up. If you touch Next Level Nicole, I should pop up there. So that's where I'm at on socials.
Okay, great. Thank you so much again. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and everybody follow her, subscribe. She's a great source of inspiration, and she just she's very real. And I feel like we just need like real life people that are honest, like the tough love.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that so much.
All right, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.